Welcome to Sim Racing Malta, the new, the first casual race of the year 2018. Today we're going to launch something different, as in still racing, but a different concept by Sim Racing Malta, because usually we do circuit racing and with Ginettas, like we're doing today, with GT3s, and today we're going to launch something different, and hopefully you will enjoy this promo. We'll be showing it during our event today, and hopefully you will like it. I hope, and we hope we can say, that you enjoyed the promo. We will be launching more details about it in the coming days. As you've seen, 4 rounds of 3-hour endurance racing on the Assetto Corsa platform, and hopefully you will enjoy this this new series by Sim Racing Malta in collaboration with Using Welt. So we will be starting the Ginetta casual race. With us we have Joshua, the commentator, our usual commentator. Alongside with me there's George.
Hello.
And Adrian, and also Gilmore, who is taking care of the live streaming comments of Facebook and other things. So let's get on to it. Maybe George would like to say something to the viewers. Today we're going to be also viewing the races by George and Adrian, and yes,
as usual, our races are live steward. We have live steward watching everything about what's going to happen, and we will follow everybody, do safe and fair play. So let's expect a good race today.
Yes, hopefully we'll be enjoying another race, because so far since we've been organizing races, I think all the races were spectacular, I can say.
Yeah, that's, I can say that even for our last race, but the round one of the Porsche Cup was an exciting race, clean race by all the drivers, and let's hope we have the same today. Yeah.
Yes, we were going to expect, we have several drivers participating from the Porsche Championship. We have Hani Al Sabti, Richard Schaffer, obviously our Maltese drivers as well, and several drivers that are forming part of our PME Sports. So yes, we're going to have an intensive 2 races with a reverse grid, 15 laps, and the second race with a reverse grid race. So let's get on to it. We're going for a very short break of advertising thanks to our sponsors, and we'll get on to the racing. Thank you.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Malita Flexi.
For all over Europe. We have 10 drivers competing today, from what I can see, unless someone else is going to join before qualifying. I heard rumours that we were going to get another driver in. But of course, some of the big names to look out for we've seen already, such as Hani El Sabdi, who is currently leading the main series, the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, which takes place on varying Friday afternoons around the year. So Al Sabdi, who I must say didn't just win the last Porsche Cup race, but dominated it with practice, qualifying, and the race under his belt. You're going to be one to look out for. Also, we've got a few more drivers from the main series here as well, like Clinton Falzon, Justin Baruki, Brandon Tabone, Omar Barbara. As you said, plenty of big names there. We also have a couple of drivers in here who have been in a couple of races in the past and have really shown their names there, like Keith Camilleri, who of course very, very nearly won the GT3 casual race and did win the BTCC casual race. Alessandro Grech and Terence Grech, who apparently aren't actually related despite sharing a surname, are also racing here. And aside from them, we also have two other Maltese drivers of Kevin Samut, who I've raced against quite a bit. Very, very quick driver, and Joseph Kaleha. That is, and that's the full entry list. So we have, I believe 12 drivers now. Actually, I think since the session started, so we have 12 drivers here, and we're just seeing the first of the practice laps being put down at the moment. Actually, no, we haven't seen any of the first practice laps put down. We're seeing drivers going on to their first practice laps, and the first driver on track will be Brandon Tabone in the Carl Boardley livery Ginetta G55 Super Cup car. As I was going to say earlier, these cars definitely a force to be reckoned with when on a race circuit. They only weigh about 950 kilograms, so less than a ton. Very, very light car. A ferocious Ford 3.7 litre V6 engine, front engined, and quite a bit of horsepower. So yeah, they are definitely cars that provide good racing, as Brandon Tabone crosses the line for his first flying lap, which is a 1:26.4. Now these laps, of course, being set very early on in the session, we're expecting to come significantly down later on in the session. Drivers get more and more used to the track, and as the track rubbers in, these first laps, while they are a good initial indication of who's quick and who isn't, as Terence Grech has parked it in the barrier there, they do not have on the qualifying order, the starting grid, or the end of the race. Although it appears that the top four guys appear to have put in laps where they started, actually, the line for the first time, that is, with Brandon Tabone at the top at the moment, followed by Terence Grech, Omar Barbara, and Joseph Kaleha. So those are the top four at this precise point in time. About 25 minutes to go in this practice session, and after all, the result of the practice session won't be for anything but bragging rights and experience, really. So time for things to change for qualifying. Over in the world in practice and then lose it all for qualifying, and it doesn't mean a thing. You will still have to start right at the back. In a lap 1/10 of a second behind Brandon Tabone, and now Justin Barucki puts it to the top. So Barucki goes half a second quicker than Tabone's lap so far in the Callum Poynton livery Ginetta, and he goes to the top of the order in the session 5 minutes in. 5.967, which appears to be quick, but again, we're still very much expecting the times to come further down as the session and the weekend progresses. Maybe not in the race, of course, because they'll be running high fuel loads. Whoa, someone got very, very high up on the curb. I'm not entirely sure who that was, but someone got right up on two wheels and actually went into the wall there. Bit of a scary situation, but as this is sim racing, no physical injury will actually be taken on by the drivers, and you can just go back to the pits and have another attempt. But still, you won't want to have too many of those situations. So the order after the first 6 minutes of drive time at Atlanta circuit in America is Justin Barucki at the top, followed by Brandon Tabone, Omar Barbara, Terence Grech, and Joseph Kaleha. And those, I believe, are the only four drivers who have actually, or five drivers rather, who have actually put in a lap past their out lap so far. So, and for more people to get into that top five order, around the final corner now, but he's a long way off the pace. Terence Grech puts in a quick first sector, but loses quite a bit of time in the third sector. I believe over a second, actually. So some sort of mistake happened that lap. He's also on a lap. Kevin Samut is actually on his first lap here. So Kevin Samut is his first lap as Haniel Sabdi puts in a lap with a quick middle sector. He doesn't actually. That was an out lap. So his out lap had a quick middle sector, and Kevin Samut has actually abandoned that lap. So let's ignore that for now. Justin Baruki has set a first sector, and actually so is Brendan Tabone now, but Baruki is ahead of Tabone. So let's see what Baruki can do before them. Up and down the order a bit, but a quick mention for Clinton Falzen, who appeared, well, he's in the pits, but it appears that on his last attempt at a hot lap, he was quicker in the first sector, as I believe Baruki ran over the grass a bit, and now he's pitted. So Baruki will not be going any faster on this lap, although Omar Barbara puts his car to second now. So Omar Barbara puts his car to second place, and Brandon Tabone is going to come through very shortly. He's just rounding the final corner, as Richard Schaefer puts his car third. Now demotes both of them, so Tabone goes to second. It's the 10th behind Justin Baruki. For Haniel Sabdi, very quick first sector for Haniel Sabdi, quickest of the session so far. He is in the third sector now. What sort of a lap this can be from the Porsche Super Cup Championship leader. Oh, that's an amazing third sector, about 0.4 of a second faster than anyone else. And in terms of overall lap time, that puts him first, 0.8 ahead of Justin Baruki. So here comes Haniel Sabdi to absolutely smash everyone else out of the park so far. Then again, as I said, this is just practice, so time for things to change and for drivers to improve for the actual qualifying session and then the race. As Al Sabdi takes a trip through the gravel, I believe that's just him resetting and going back into the garage. Richard Schaefer has just gone fastest in the session in Sector 1. Sector 2, so definitely watch Richard Schaefer here. This could put him to the top of the order, quite possibly, so long as he doesn't make any mistakes later on in the lap. He's just going over the turn 11 into turn 12 now, and this is going to be a quick lap from Richard Schaefer, and it puts him second. Oh, it's about half a second off Haniel Sabdi, in fact, as he lost about 0.4 in the final sector. And now Brandon Tabone puts it second. So it's Al Sabdi, Tabone, Schaefer, Baruki, Samut who make up the top 5 now. Changes up the top of the order very, very suddenly. Here's the next driver who appears to be improving on his lap. He is half a second off the quickest guys in Sector 1, but it does appear that he's still ahead of his personal best at this precise point in time. So let's see what he can do in the second and third sectors of this lap. Does quite a bit of racing with the WCS League. He's done a couple of quite a few Megane races with them, and I believe he's involved with the GPVWC as well, racing for Multiforce GP. Sector for him was a personal best as well, so if the third sector is good, well, I think it was an improvement, but overall the lap was not able to put him any higher up the order, so he's going to have to settle for 5th place for now. Grech, I believe, is the next driver on a quick lap, and he is actually quite, he's about 0.4 off the quickest guys in the first sector, but still, he's up on himself by about 1.5 seconds. Oh, that's because he's first lap. So yeah, that's not an accurate representation of time at all. The second sector is relatively quick, still not blistering. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Joseph Claire on this lap. Claire, of course, is the car 1 place ahead of him. I think he will be able to with this. Claire hasn't quite put in. Yeah, let's see what. Oh yeah, it does. So that lap from Alessandro Grech puts him to 8th position there. So a good first attempt to put in 8th out of 10 drivers who have now set laps. It appears we've lost 1 driver because there appear to be 11 drivers in the session all of a sudden. But Then Samut, just coming through the final corner, he is going about 4/10 up on his lap, and at the moment that would put him to 4th. It does put him to 4th. So Samut goes to 4th position for now. Less than 1/10 of a second off Richard Schaefer ahead of him, so there's certainly time for improvement there. Certainly a lot of time for improvement. Still, we haven't seen Keith Camilleri out of the pits yet. Camilleri has been in the pits for this entire session and hasn't quite shown his face yet, but we hope he can join us because we've seen that Camilleri is definitely one of the most entertaining drivers on the track. Took a real fight to Bernard Velo, I remember, in the AMG GT3 rather race, the casual race that happened at the end of 2017. That was a lot of fun to watch. Particulars really on a quick lap at the precise point. We've got a couple of drivers sort of challenging. Oh, I tell you what, actually, that's a quick first sector from Terence Grech. That's about level with the really top guys. So can put himself ahead of his surname sharer Alessandro Grech, or not related as far as I know, but he's in the first sector, so this is going to be a quick lap, providing he can hold it together. I believe he is about, I believe that was a very similar first sector time to the top guys. He was about 4/10 off in the second sector. That's to be expected because let's face it, the top guy is Hani Al Sabdi, who is pretty much unbeatable from what I've seen so far of him. But anyway, Terence Grech out of the final corner now. He's going to improve his lap by about a second. He does. And that puts Terence Grech to 5th position. So just behind Kevin Samut. And now Hani Al Sabdi is flying again. Personal best and session best in Sector 1. He's about half a second up on even his best. He might well be able to beat his own lap or by over a second here. Let's see what Al Sabdi does. He's in the second sector at the precise moment. Behind him, who will no doubt be benefiting from a slipstream here. Sadly, it doesn't look as if the second sector is... Oh, I tell you what, it's not his personal best, but the second sector is still very, very quick, just 33 seconds. So this third sector could definitely still deliver. Will he be able to beat the rest of the field by a second? Let's see whether he will be able to. I wouldn't put it past him. He's coming across the line now. Oh, it's so nearly a second. It's a 1:24.657, which puts him 9/10 of a second. Over 9/10. If you rounded it up, it would be a second. So, Hani Al Sabdi, 0.954 of a second ahead of Brandon Tabone in second. That is an astonishing lap now from Hani Al Sabdi. And the rest of the field will be rubbing their heads, thinking, where on earth is he getting this time? I don't think any of these drivers have any idea quite where he is gaining the time. Hani Al Sabdi is in a class of his own here at this precise point in time. So let's see if anyone can challenge him going into qualifying. Richard Schaefer is on a quick lap. 2/10 off Al Sabdi in the first sector, but that is a personal best. Personal best second sector. So will Schaefer be able to get himself up ahead of Brandon Tabone and claim second place so far? And hold it together through the final sector, but this is a very difficult sector actually. I think the final sector is probably the most difficult corner on the track, or sector on the track. He puts it second behind Hani Al Sabdi. The final sector has fast corners. It has a big rise in it. It has a chicane with a heavy braking zone, difficult acceleration zones. Yeah, this is definitely one of the hardest tracks. Also, this first sector with the S's, Road Atlanta S's, reminiscent of Maggots and Beckett's, Kota first sector, those iconic venues, except this has a slight sense of elevation in it, and that can make it even harder. So sector here, very difficult. Second sector quite a lot easier because there's only 2 corners in it, followed by a long straight. Third sector, very difficult as well. This is certainly a track to be reckoned with, as Schaefer and Tabone are now both faster than their personal best in sector 1 as well. So both of them going for quicker laps here. And I believe that Schaefer is ahead on the track. So let's see what Schaefer can do for a start. His second sector wasn't quite there.